Don't want to take away the traditional roots. We don't want to take away the white crew or the clinch. We don't want to just become stand and bang brawl with the small gloves. We obviously want to pay homage to the respects and the tradition of the sport, but you need to create a product which is easily digestible and is easily understandable to the general public.
Muay Thai, a sport of warriors. Fights created by legacy and heritage. Some of the greatest fights never made into reality. Until now. Connecting fighters from around the world, bringing the best of Thailand to meet the next generation. Not just one night. This is where greatness is forged, captured. A platform where stories are told, where fighters are remembered. World Super Series.
Deep Talk, der erste deutschsprachige Muay Thai podcast. So, hello everybody, welcome to Deep Talk, your Muay Thai podcast. From the bottom of Germany, we are going up to England. Is that right? England, the UK? Where exactly are you staying right now, Charlie?
Unfortunately, I'm in rainy England. It has rained pretty much every single day this year. We're starting to see the sun, but yeah, in London, in England, enjoying the cold weather. I'm in Stratford, just outside London.
There we go. So how long does it take for you to go into downtown London?
You can jump on the train and you can get there within 30, 40 minutes. Everything's super easy. And once you're into London, you've got the tube system, the underground, which is always useful and you can get around pretty easily.
That's so funny because for me, it takes way more shorter to go to London than to go to Berlin, for example. So it takes me about with the planes like 45 minutes, or with the train or with the car would be like less than 6 hours. So Berlin is way more far away than London. It's crazy.
Crazy.
So before we go into the word super serious, we're going to start you some personal questions. So are you ready about it?
Of course, let's do it.
First question: Bangkok or island life?
Bangkok. I love the city feel, the hustle and bustle.
What's your favorite fighter of all time? Golden era, modern era, I don't care.
Well, that's quite difficult. I've only been in the sport less than 4 years, so a lot of my knowledge is the more recent fighters. But fighters like Kieran Shanahan, who was the first fighter which I ever saw fight live, he's awesome. James Kostic over in Australia, he's got such an awesome style. Ty Gannon in Ireland, he's coming up. He's super, super exciting. He does some flamboyant cartwheel kicks, dancing on his opponents. So he's always exciting to watch. But I really love finding these new up-and-coming talents, just like Robert Stoll in Germany, that weren't that well known, that are now bursting onto the scene and some incredible Muay Thai talents.
Yeah, it was a benchmark to beat Charles Sigwa in England. Everybody was like, whoa, what's coming up? And now he's going to fight Charlie Bob. I mean, in the end, in K1, but this is also going to be a great fight. But he's looking for some opponents, so hopefully we're going to see him back in England again.
Absolutely. That fight with Seeker, I don't think anyone really expected him to do that. Even myself, I'll put my hands up and say, I got that wrong. Dole, he's an awesome fighter. He's going over to fight Charlie Bubb, I think next month it is. And then 100% once he's back, whether that's in the UK, whether that's in Germany, whether that's in Europe, it'll be awesome to have him on World Super Series and have some awesome matchups.
100%. So his coach is my buddy Chris from Rising Muay Thai. So there's a close relationship between us, and he's training him together with Sasa Dragic, and he and his brother Roman, they really push themselves to the limit. So I think that's one of the most important points, that when you have somebody behind you who's pushing you to the limits, even when you have a bad day.
Absolutely, yeah. And his brother Roman is killing it on the bare knuckle scene, I see as well.
Yeah, 100%. So the next question: one championship or more stadium Muay Thai? What do you prefer?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer. In short bursts, I like the excitement of one, but I couldn't watch one for a 3-4 hour broadcast. It just gets too tiring. It's just too fast paced, and it's too stand and bang. It's great for social media. It looks fantastic. The highlights are amazing. But to sit there, whether that be in the stadium or watching via the broadcast, to watch a full 3, 4, 5 hour show, it does get quite fatiguing. So for that reason, I love RWS. I went to Raja Damnern Stadium when I went to Bangkok only for the first time last October, and experience the immersiveness, being able to see the betters in the other corner. It was an awesome experience. So I would have to say RWS, Raja Damnern, I prefer.
Nice. Yes. What's your favorite Thai food? Maybe one of the most important questions in here.
I go for the exact same thing every single time. You won't find me deviate on anything else. I go for a massaman.
This is what I told everybody who's in this podcast, because I'm going to ask everybody this question. Is like, in the end of every podcasting year, I'm going to write a book down, or a helper for restaurants and the best dishes from Thailand. So I guess this is going to be a bestseller. Like I said, before we go deeper into the World Super Series of Muay Thai, which takes part in different areas of Europe and which is going to be a global big player in Muay Thai, how does your journey in martial arts has begun? What did you train? What's your passion? Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll set the scene probably a couple of years before I even got into Muay Thai. I played high-level academy football for pretty much all of my childhood, from the ages of 6 to 13 when I stopped playing. Playing with Premier League teams in all across Europe as well, going on different tours. So I always had that competitive, that sporty edge. Once I finished football, I completely fell out of love with it, maybe doing it throughout my entire childhood, and not really having a childhood, not really having a friend system or something where I would go out every Saturday and Sunday. I was always training. I was always playing games. But coming out of football in when I was 13, I started to do boxing. So I started going to the amateur boxing gyms near where I live. A year prior to that, my granddad unfortunately passed away from Parkinson's, and my dad decided to do a charity white collar boxing competition. He entered into it that was raising money for Parkinson's. He went along, he done the training. It was an 8-week camp. I joined him on at the time. Again, I was about 12, 13 years old, and I found a real passion for boxing. The following year, that they were running this annual white collar boxing event, I decided I'm going to join in myself. I'm going to do the 8 weeks training. I'm going to fight I did it. I love it. From there, I went into the amateur boxing side of things. I only fought 6 times, but I fought yeah for about 3 or 4 years. Around 4 years ago, 2022, yeah, around 4 years ago, just as we were coming out from the COVID restrictions, me and my dad turned around and said, let's do our own boxing show. And that's exactly what we done. We done the same 8-week charity format, completely beginners, just in the local leisure centre with no lighting, no production, no media. It cost absolutely nothing compared to what these nowadays cost. But that's really how I got involved in promoting that. I would have been 15 at the time, so I was probably by a large distance the youngest promoter within the UK. I done those charity events. I scaled them up into doing higher level events. I eventually went to do professional boxing events, and it was at that point I started streaming with a company called Leapfrog, which also done Muay Thai shows, which also streamed Muay Thai shows. They invite me down to watch Diamond Fight, which is where Kieran Shanahan was headlining. This was the first time I'd ever heard about Muay Thai or been to one of the shows. And instantly, as soon as I saw Kieran with the elbows, knees, kicks, and punches, it got me hooked. From there, I joined in with that streaming platform. I started to run Muay Thai events with them. I worked with LFN for a couple of years. I kind of took all of the knowledge and the experience that I'd gained through that period and kind of professionalized it with proper backing, with proper structure, and with a proper team. And now we're launching World Super Series.
What came into your mind? As you said, you came out of boxing and then you saw Muay Thai fights. Why, or tell us the potential of Muay Thai? Is it so bigger than boxing, do you think? What's your guess?
The reason that Muay Thai hooked me was because it was so versatile. There was so much going on. It wasn't just box and move, jab and move, and you're watching a 12 round fight for 36 minutes, and all they're throwing is jabs and moving. It is action from the off. It is kicks. It is knees. It is elbows. There's cuts. There's abrasions. It's exciting, but most importantly, the fights are competitive. In boxing, you have a home fighter versus a journeyman. And anyone that's betting in boxing can make an absolute fortune because you know who's going to win that fight before they even get into the ring. With Muay Thai, it's not like that. You have that excitement. You have two fighters which are competitively matched and they're going to go at it. It's not a case of protect their record or trying to protect their own. And that's exactly what happened with Robert Stoll. You get these upsets, you get these fantastic fights, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it's you never know what happens in the ring, even if it's Muay Thai or something like that. It's crazy. This sport just catches everybody who's in it. The first thing is because you're not into the sports long, your mind is fresh. You're not experienced with it because of working for councils or stuff like that in the last couple of 20 years. And this is what I actually talked about with another podcast guest in one of the last episodes, is when you're really new into the sport, you bring new ideas. You see the scene from above, from a very perspective area, and just say, hey, we can do this better and this better without the experience of being in the sport of 20 years. And I think this is a way more fresher view on it. So the World Super Series, first of all, where did you have the idea for the name for, and what motivates you to start the World Super Series of Muay Thai, and what vision did you have for the promotion from day one?
Absolutely. So the name and the concept really originated from the World Boxing Super Series, which ran for a number of years. It's where Usyk became undisputed. It's where Josh Taylor made his name. It's where George Groves made his name. And the idea and the concept of the World Boxing Super Series it wasn't just the fighters are fighting in their hometown, their home countries. They were taking the product of boxing and they were taking stars like Usyk, stars like Josh Taylor, and they were moving them around the different countries. They would fight in Germany, they would fight in the UK, they would fight in America, they would fight in all of these different countries. And through that, not only were they fighting the best fighters because they were doing a prize fighter in a tournament format, but because they were fighting in all of these different countries, they were picking up fan bases when they were fighting there. So somebody in America that didn't know who Usyk was now know who Usyk was. The same for George Groves in Germany. George Groves fights in Germany. He picks up a fan base, and that's really what we're looking to bring to the World Super Series of Muay Thai. Building fan bases with the fighters that isn't just within their local scene, their local city or country, and to unify what is a very fragmented market outside of Thailand. In Thailand, you've got the fantastic stadium scene, you've got One, you've got RWS. But outside of Thailand, and maybe Japan, as One have expanded there now at the minute, but in Australia, in Europe, and in America, there's no centralized promotion. There's no centralized platform. There's no Premier League. There's no Formula One or NFL or league structure that really provides a platform in which professional fighters can actually earn a living, can actually have the right opportunities, and can build fan bases not just within their local area, and to really turn what I feel is very much still an amateur-run sport into something that's ran like a commercial or a sports entity.
So you try to give the whole sport a frame, because in the end, this is what a lot of countries missed in the last couple of decades. It's to build a healthy ecosystem of Muay Thai where everybody is working together with everybody, and in the end, it all should ends in a good professional league or an elite fighting pool of people who are going to Thailand and fighting on a high level, because this is the end goal, what every country should have as a goal in Muay Thai. And the World Super Series in Muay Thai, you try to give that a frame. When I'm looking on the map, currently working in countries like the United States, in Spain, Germany, Italy, Greece, Thailand, and Australia, what are the plans? Are these countries the only you want to stay, or you want to build a global community for the World Super Series? What's the plan?
Absolutely, yeah. Everything is in stages, so it's not a case of wanting to expand to all 187 countries in the world straight away. But exactly that.
That would be nice.
That would be nice, yeah. But there are countries like in Latin America that some awesome fan bases that have some awesome fighters that not many people really know about. Countries like Mexico, countries like Brazil, Argentina, Chile, all of these types of countries in the Middle East are rising at the middle at the minute. There are Muay Thai gyms opening in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia. We're currently working towards doing something with the Saudi Muay Thai Federation. So hopefully, with the support of them, we can bring the sport up within those regions as well. North Africa have got a great stable and have been a stable for combat sports and sports for a number of years. So yes, we're starting with our pool of Europe, Australia, and America, and of course bringing the ties in when we can get them over safely. But the idea is to expand into those other regions, not just expand into them blindly, but to do it in a way that is structured and is strategic, where we are entering the market an already established star. So what we'll do is we'll say we want to enter Mexico. Let's say we want to enter the Mexican market. We will plan a 6 to 12 month roadmap before we even do a show in Mexico. And what we'll do is we'll identify 3 to 5 names in Mexico, of fighters in Mexico that we think could have the potential, that have the characteristics that we look at to be a front runner, a star of that region. We will then start to get them regular opportunities on our other shows, build the fan base within our ecosystem, and then when we eventually make that move into Mexico or wherever that market might be, we have an already established fan base that have been watching online for that fighter, and also a fighter that then we can push. We've got a bank of content, we've got storylines and narratives that we can then bring over to that market.
You already did a deal with NBC Sport in the United States, so that gives a lot of showing power to the sport of Muay Thai. Congratulations to that. Are you a person who tries to get into Saudi Arabia because of the money in the end? Because this is very important for the sport, for sure, that we get a higher salary for our professional fighters to get the whole scene more professional. So do you hope to go to Saudi Arabia trying to introduce real Muay Thai there? And do you think Saudi Arabia is open for such a cultural and special style of martial arts in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what the Saudis are doing currently in golf, in Formula One, and in boxing they're changing the landscape, whether that's for good or whether that's not. Of course, more money, more investment into the sport helps not just the top of the funnel, but the bottom as well at the grassroots level. But it's not within our plans or within our necessity to succeed, rich Arabian or a rich a sheikh of Saudi Arabia on board for the success of World Super Series. I know previously in the past, a lot of people have kind of said, well, we're just going to hope that a Saudi official comes along, likes our sport, and gives us, tens of millions to put into it. Unfortunately, that's not
You
that's
take
not a
it
real
and grow the
reality.
sport.
Yeah, that's not the reality. So we have to provide frameworks, and we have to provide our own kind of investment and structure within the sport. But of course, any type of investment, any type of support especially from a government backed, always helps.
Yeah. So in the end, to make the sport bigger through the WSS in the end, but you are a businessman for sure, and you love the sport. You want to promote the sport, especially as a promotions. It is very important to keep the identity and the philosophy behind it. What exactly is the philosophy and the identity behind the World Super Series? Maybe compared to other Muay Thai promotions.
Hmm. Absolutely. We're all about unifying fragmented market. So us, World Super Series as a company isn't restricted to Muay Thai. It is multi-sport. So we are currently exploring or in the process of entering other sports right now. We have paddle that's on the horizon. We have some other things that are coming later down the line. And the ethos, the identity, and the mission statement of World Super Series at a company level is to unify fragmented markets through media, through series of events, through structure, through investment, um, and then scale them to a point to where you have the support of the mainstream media, you have the support of the mainstream markets, and we bring the sport to a point then where it's attractive enough that a PE firm, a larger events company, a media rights outlet comes in and goes, this sport is worthwhile investing in. And then that's where they'll take the sport from where we will bring it to into a 8, 9, 10 figure industry.
I'm really looking forward to what happens to the World Super Series because I see a lot of potential in what you are doing. Because of Team Talk, I'm very happy to be one of the media partners as well to bring the World Super Series or to support it here in the German native speaking area. Thanks for being your partner. What are the key factors you look for when signing new fighters to compete in the World Super Series events?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a characteristic trait of what we believe a fighter can be or a future star can be. Of course, the first one is probably the most important. They can actually fight. But it's not just about how good you can fight that makes a stars. There's some incredible fighters that, being completely honest, will never reach WBC world title levels, that will never reach the heights of the sport because they are not pushing themselves out there in a way that makes them visible to those people that are going to give them those opportunities. So what we look for is it's not only are they a good fighter, but we look at their social media following. What type of engagement are they getting on social media? Are they creating content? When they're fighting, are they bringing viewership? Are they bringing an audience? Are people invested in what they're doing? Are they willing to do media, willing to put themselves out there? Maybe if they haven't done it so far, they just don't know how to do it. But are they actually willing, if we provide and say, hey, look, we're gonna come shoot a documentary we want to tell your story, are they up for the same kind of characteristics and traits that you will see in the top UFC stars, the top bare knuckle stars, the top boxing stars, the fighters that have personalities and stories that can be told and are willing to tell those stories. That's kind of what we look for, in addition to, of course, being able to fight.
I always say what Joe Rogan said. Why is Muay Thai not the biggest sport in the world? Right? It's the potential of Muay Thai right now, because everybody have been to Thailand, everybody have been on vacation, everybody saw maybe a Muay Thai fight, even when you're not training. Everybody knows now what Thai boxing is because they saw it somewhere. So the potential of the sport is unbelievable high. We are just scratching on the beginning of it. So because of the fighters, one of your next events have some incredible fights on the line. So Alfie Pierce against Superleg, and we have the fight in Spain between Philip Kostic and Anthony Orden. These are really hardcore, super mega nice fights. So you try to have a big main event on every event where it takes part, right? So do you want to have somebody from the same area like Anthony Orden in Madrid, or what's the intention behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. Every single main event has to be a big international intrigue fight. Partly because of our model is um, expanding our reach and the online viewership, but partly to bring in the big names internationally that are going to bring the hype locally and within Europe as well. So every single main event, we look to get somebody from Europe against somebody from either Australia, Thailand, Japan, America, one of these big nations that are, that have strong sports followings and have some incredible fighters. We bring them over. It's not just limited to, say, Antonio Orden in Madrid that then fights somebody from Australia or abroad. I believe the event that we have in May in Leicester will have two fighters that are both international. So somebody from Ireland and somebody from Australia will be fighting in the middle of the UK. Um, of course brings international intrigue, that of course brings the viewership, and that brings something that a lot of promotions are not able to do because it doesn't make financial sense. It doesn't make financial sense bring somebody from Australia and bring somebody from another country and to bring them into a completely separate country because they're not going to sell tickets. And for a lot of the shows, they are solely reliant on ticket sales and local sponsorships. So it is a fine balance, but where we're lucky in the model that we have is that we have the international broadcasting deals, we have the international viewership, we have the backing from people that want to make a difference in the sport, and we have a very long-term approach.
I guess this is also one of the hardest parts, to fill a stadium full of fans and full of Muay Thai supporters. On the other side, you try to sell as much pay-per-views as you can. So this broadcasting deal is also very good. But in the end, this moment right now, do you think Muay Thai have the power to fill a whole stadium?
Right now, I don't think getting right now. If we go into Wembley Stadium, we're not going to sell 80,000 tickets. We're not naive. Do I think we can get absolutely? It will take a number of years, not even to get to 80,000, but just to get to 10,000. It will take a number of years to do so, and it will take a long-term approach. But we're very fortunate to have Jim Freeman, who was the founder of BKB Bare Knuckle, within our team. He's a senior advisor for us, and he's been there and done that. He took what was at the time a completely new sport, or a regenerated sport, if you wanted to count it in the 1800s, but a completely new sport in bare knuckle from 2015, 2016, to not selling out these small leisure centres, to bare knuckle now filling out. I think they're at the Manchester Arena, they're at the O2, they're at the big arena in Philadelphia. They're filling these massive stadiums, and they're having these incredible fights with some well-known names, and not just names which they're poaching from UFC or from MMA, but building stars from the ground up. Of course, that took a period of 10, 11 years to do so, but to have Jim on our team and to advise us and to be able to give first-hand experience and say, this is what we've done, this is the challenges that we encountered, this is what's going to cost you, this is where you need to divert your resources more into, and somebody that has literally taken a sport which was non-existent to is now worth in the hundreds of millions and have hundreds of millions of fans globally is super important.
From your perspective as a promoter, what do you think are the biggest challenges in organizing high-level Muay Thai events internationally? What are the biggest challenges? What do you think?
I think getting the local public involved in the event, making them want to attend the event. If we rely solely on the fighters to their mum, brother, and sister, we're never going to get past 1,000, 2,000 tickets, let alone filling up arenas of 10,000 plus. We need to engage with the local community, and that's what we are investing in heavily at the minute, and diverting our resources to. A lot of the thinking behind these deals with NBC Sports and the deals with these free-to-air networks. And we're doing activations with local community groups. We went down last weekend to do a run club with a local men's mental health initiative. There's 100 members there. We gave out a bunch of free tickets to all of their members. We took one of the fighters down, Josh Groves-Zandy. But now that's 100 new people that know about Muay Thai, that know about Josh, that know about World Super Series. And the next time we come to London, of course, if they enjoy the event, which I'm sure exactly like me and exactly like you, we see the sport once and we get hooked, is that they're going to see the event on March 14th. They're going to go, wow, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. They're going to tell 10 of their friends, and that small pool of 100 people over a period of event has now compounded into 3, 4, 5,000 people that now know about the sport, that now know about World Super Series, and are now likely want to attend the events that we do when we come back to London.
And that's exactly the point, to bring people into the fight arenas or the stadiums to watch Muay Thai. which haven't been on a Muay Thai event before. These are the ones that pays the fighters in the end, because people who love Muay Thai, they will be there 100%. But the regular public, we need them, because in the end, they are going to pay everything that needs to get paid. Being on a Muay Thai event, especially for the public, sometimes is very, I don't want to say weird, because they go to a martial arts event and they expect punching and kicking. Maybe that's okay because they know boxing from the broadcasting channels. But in the end, the white crew, the traditional Thai music in the bag, everything that's involved into Muay Thai. How important is it for you to balance traditional Muay Thai values with modern entertainment and promotion to get it to these people?
Absolutely, yeah. And what we're doing is we don't want to take away the traditional roots. We don't want to take away the white crew or the clinch. We don't want to just become stand and bang brawl with the small gloves. We obviously want to pay homage to the respects and the tradition of the sport, but you need to create a product which is easily digestible and is easily understandable to the general public. Um, and the way that we're going to be doing this is we have big scoreboards on the LED screens above the screen. We've built an app, we built a software which people can vote during the fight who they think is winning. On the screen, it comes up and it will say, 80% think this guy's winning, 20% this guy's winning, and this is constantly changing. So it's really getting the fans
Being an
to engage.
interactive Muay Thai event.
Exactly, making them care about the fights that they don't know about, and not making the event too long. Nobody wants to sit down for 10, 12 hours and watch amateur Muay Thai for 90% of the fights. They don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Not even the fighters want to do that. What we're doing and what we're trying to is create an actual product. Make it as an event. Make it a 3-4 hour broadcast. Make it fit within a broadcast window. Make it interactive. Make it easy to understand. For every event, explain the rules. How are we scoring? Explain what they're doing. On the broadcast, when they're doing the wide crews, the commentators are saying, this is what it is. This is why they do it. Graphics popping up on the broadcast saying why they're scoring it this certain way, or why the wide crew is done in a certain way. To educate and to normalize something which, if you're just watching it, think, what on earth is going on? I will say this, promotions should not think that they're competing with each other. What Muay Thai is competing with isn't rival promotions. Muay Thai is competing with the other events in the area that weekend or that week. Muay Thai is competing with boxing. It's competing with theatre, competing with comedy nights. It's competing with darts. That's what Muay Thai is really competing with. Exactly like you said, the general public is what is going to fund the sport and is what going to push the sport into. So us as the promoters in Muay Thai, we need to stop thinking we want to be the king of the king of the town. Think, okay, how can we bring the sport to the masses and attract the general public rather than going to a theatre night or a comedy night or a boxing night, come to our Muay Thai event.
Kind of like a Muppet player, you have to deal with so many different parts of people and parts of the Muay Thai ecosystem, everybody together, and to create a great show to promote the sport in the end. What has been the most memorable moment for you and or as a fight in the World Super Series so far? Is there one special moment where you say, yes, what I'm doing in here is exactly what I want, and this is exactly what the World Super Series should be?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of memorable moments over the last 3 months. We have an incredible team, and we face some incredible challenges, especially what's going on in the Middle East at the minute, providing so many logistical nightmares. But
This is
there,
why
there, there
you
has
had to
been
cancel the event on March 14, right?
Yeah, so the event is still going ahead. That we're unable to bring the ties over, unable to safely bring them into the UK. 90% of the routes go through Dubai or Doha, which, although the flights are still available and you can still book the flights for Monday, Tuesday next week, it's just, one, it's not safe for the ties to be there, but there's been a week backlog of people that are in the Middle East. So when the flights open, I'm hearing that it's going to be today. I'm hearing that it's going to be early next week. Even if flights reopen before they were due to fly out from Dubai and Doha, they've got a week's worth of people, 20,000 Brits that are stranded currently in the Middle East, that they need to get out of there first. So it's going to be a 3 to 4 week backlog. And that's just not a position that, one, we want to put the ties in, and two, we want to put Alfie is a case where on Tuesday night we're telling Alfie, I'm sorry, we can't do this because they're currently stranded in Dubai and we can't get them here. But in terms of memorable moments, definitely the NBC deal. Definitely we have 2 more broadcasting deals that we've agreed over the last couple of days, which will be announcing shortly. But to have that support and being able to
That's
see that
incredible.
there is
Yeah.
genuine interest by these legacy networks, and not just the legacy, but also the powerful people within sport and business, going to powerful people within sport that own other sport IPs, that have venture funds worth hundreds of millions of euros, paying attention to what Muay Thai is doing and paying attention to what we're doing is definitely a kind of an indicator that what we're doing, we're on the right track, and we're having the right approach, thinking long term, and long term investment rather than a short term cash grab.
In case you're not just trying to have a pro fight through the whole fight card, you also will have some young fighters or upcoming stars or young talents. What advice would you give to young fighters who are dreaming of competing on international Muay Thai platforms like the World Super Series? What kind of advice you want to give them? Sorry for my
Yeah,
English.
100%.
Sometimes I speak kind of like German.
Absolutely. Any kind of young, aspiring sports person, whether that be in Muay Thai, boxing, or football, speaking from my own experiences, just get yourself out there, push yourself out there, work hard, um, and remember that you have to create a brand around yourself as opposed to just being a talented sports person. There's a fighter in Australia, I believe his name's Bailey, he's quite young. He's just quit his full-time job, and he's not like a crazy well-known Muay Thai athlete, but he done a Meta ad, and his ad popped up on my Instagram feed, and it was really well put together. He done this little video explaining why he got into the sport, some of the challenges that he's faced. Once, twice a day, he puts these videos out explaining all of these crazy stories that he's had and his journey and what he wants to achieve. And me, just as a general fight fan, a general sports fan, is watching this thinking, this is incredible. I'm now learning about this fighter, who again, he's not a WBC champion. He's not world ranked. He's not fought on the massive stages, but he's putting himself out there and he's making himself recognizable so that I've looked him up, I've seen his meta ad, I've seen what he's done. We're now going to get him on the World Super Series and fly him over into Europe. So make yourself accessible, build a brand around yourself, and be consistent.
I know we already talked some weeks ago on the phone talking about the World Super Series for sure, and then we made the date to have a date like today on the podcast. But in the end, you're also planning an event in Germany. Is there something more you can tell about? Or is it still in the planning process?
It's still very much in the playing process, but Germany is one of the key markets that I really want to enter. Not just from what I saw with Robert Stoll, but also some of the other fighters that they have. That you have over in Germany. I think Ajahn Hadrada, he's awesome. You have, I can't quite remember his first name. I believe his name's Ati, who's now the WBC.
Gerardo Ati, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's the one, the WBC world champion. And you have some amazing, not just Muay Thai fighters, but you have some amazing sports fans in Germany. The football's massive. People are used to platforms like DAZN and platforms like that. So Germany as a market for us, I feel, could be a really key and a core market, not just for fighters, but also for bridging the gap between hardcore Muay Thai fans and the general public that like sports and like to be entertained. So I think Q3, I want to say that we're going to be looking to come to Germany. But apart from that, there's nothing more that I can spill the beans of at the minute.
We need more promotions here in Germany because it's the biggest economy in Europe. We have like 82 million people in here. Together with Switzerland and Austria, there are more than 100. So there's a bigger market. I still say there are so many talents coming up in the next couple of 10 years. There is so incredible. But we are always like 20 years above other countries in Muay Thai because in here the war, it's hard to say, but the war between the councils in here burned a lot of people from the emotionally part. It's like, oh, I don't want to do Muay Thai anymore. I cannot because all this council shit just was so hard for us. So in the end, the potential of Muay Thai in Germany is, I hope, and I think, one of the biggest around the world, especially due
Mhm.
to the population that more and more Muay Thai gyms are coming. Like I said, we have so less promotions, only Muay Thai promotions in here. I guess just 4. So we have right now like Rising Muay Thai, we have TCC, the Combat Club, we have House of Pain in Frankfurt, and we have the CM Spirit series. But in the end, that's less. That's not that much, 100%. So is there a kind of city you prefer to do a show for World Super Series when it's coming to Germany?
Oh, that's a super
If you're
tough
allowed to
question.
say it.
We were discussing this the other week, and I think we must have named 3 or 4 cities. We're like, "That'd be cool to do a show there. That'd be cool to that'd be cool to do a show there." I think the honest answer is we could put a show anywhere within Germany, and there'll be amazing fighters within there. There'll be amazing support of the local public, and that we can make a spectacle out of it.
My dream as a fan is to see European Muay Thai League where the best fighters from every country fight against each other. Is that one of the
Mhm.
goals of the World Super Series?
Yes, absolutely. As I say, we're not bound by local ticket sellers where we can only have local fighters on the show. We are backed by, of course, our own OTT platform. We're backed by our broadcasting deals worldwide. And actually, from a business perspective, a lot of our business, a lot of our revenue comes from away from the local events, away from the local tickets. So it allows us to put these fights on between 2 Europeans, between a European and somebody from outside of Europe internationally. And that kind of freedom allows us to put allows us to put on the great fights. It allows us to put on the fights that wouldn't have been possible otherwise, that need to make financial sense or need to make local financial viability sense. We are lucky in the sense that we have a support system, a network, and a structure that enables us to kind of put on these events. And then, of course, we have a fantastic network of gyms, promoters, coaches all across Europe, all across Australia, America, and Asia that are working with us to identify new talents, to help us put on these shows, navigate the local red tape and the local councils and the local culture. So with this kind of network and support system and everyone really coming together to grow the sport and to put on the fights that the fans want to see will help definitely reach that more casual mainstream audience.
Imagine I'm a professional Muay Thai fighter right now from Germany, listening to the podcast between Charlie and Fred, getting interested in fighting at the World Super Series. What must happen that I can't fight on the World Super Series? Do I have to contact some? The World Super Series sees me when I have a big potential. What needs to happen that I can find there? And maybe one of the most important question is, when I'm fighting at the World Super Series, am I allowed, while I have a contract there, to fight on another promotion? These are, I guess, one of the most important questions for professional fighters in the end. How do you
Of
deal with
course.
that?
Of course, yeah. So first of all, in terms of getting in contact with us, you can drop us a message on the Instagram page, on the World Super Series Instagram. You can drop a message to WSS Matching, which is our matchmaking page. Both have admins that read through that. So in terms of getting yourself in contact, that's probably the best way to do it. Or you can drop me a personal message on my personal Instagram, Charlie Herdman. But in terms of getting yourself done, like we were saying earlier, get yourself out there, make videos, tell your story. If you have a fight, don't just do the fight. Don't do anything about it. Post you training. Post you after the fight. Post how much that fight means to you. If you win a big title, if you win a big fight, do a video saying how much this means to you, how much you've worked for it. Tell your story. Make yourself accessible, and we'll pick up on it, and we will give you those opportunities. In terms of from a contractual point of view, it depends on kind of what deal we have. If it's a one fight deal, if it's just that singular fight, that's the structure that's probably most common. We also have multi-fight contract or multi-fight deals in which they fight on World Super Series, but we also allow fight on RWS on one. And in Thailand, as obviously that is a lot of the aspirations, the dreams of the fighters, and we don't want to hinder that. So a lot of our multi-fight deals and exclusivity contracts, if you like, are still permitting for fighters to compete on RWS, to compete on one, to compete in Thailand. Um, yeah.
Is it one of the plans, or are you going to have like WBC bouts, title fights on the World Super Series, or are you just going to let the fighters fight for the WSS belt, for example?
Absolutely. There'll be a mixture. We're not going to sit here like a Zuffa and say that the WBC is worthless and we're not going to do anything with them at all, and it's the Zuffa belt or nothing at all. We're not that naive. The WBC, the WMO, the other sanctioning bodies, they have value, they have meaning, and fighters dream to have that belt, especially the WBC, especially the connotations with boxing. Fighters will see Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, and it's a very real possibility. If they are a decent Muay Thai fighter, they can have the exact same belt as Floyd Mayweather in their lounge on their countertop, the WBC world title. So yes, we'll be working with the WBC alongside with what we're doing with the WSS belts and the WSS rankings.
Yeah. It was also my dream always to have that kind of green belt. In the end, I'm a
hmm
council-free podcast, but we know everybody wants to have this green belt at home because it's always beautiful and everybody recognizes it because, like you said, because of the boxing, because of the superstars back in the days who also had this belt, and everybody in here needs to have a green belt to rise up in their own career to get the golds. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will also say this. I will give the WBC the props for what they're doing in Muay Thai with the amateur competitions, with providing that structure. They very like-mindedly, how I feel, is they see the bigger picture. They see the long-term vision. They of course have the experience and the expertise from the people in boxing that have done it for, what was it, 1963? Yeah, I think over 60 years. That's got to be now. So they are providing the structure, and not just within one area, but they have fantastic councils in America, fantastic councils in Thailand, in UK, in Germany, in Australia, in Europe, and even in countries like in South America and in Africa as well. So they are very much like-minded in the sense of unifying the sport and creating that one kind of platform that supports each other through the works that they're doing through the sanctioning body.
All over around the Muay Thai world, what's your biggest critics to the sport? What could be better in the sport of Muay Thai around the world? What's your opinion? Maybe this is one of the most important questions.
It is, yeah, and it could be also the most controversial one. um, think bigger. It is probably what I'd say. Think bigger. Be open for change, and be open to put yourself out there. I feel that there are a lot of people that feel that where Muay Thai is right now is where it will always be. It won't get any bigger than where it is. And what that means is they feel that they are, I don't want to say above the sport, but they feel that they are the leaders of the sport. They are the sport. Um, Look, anybody from the outside looking in, comparing Muay Thai to boxing, will know that that's not the case. So I feel that everyone in the sport, not just fighters, not just promoters, not just coaches, but everyone within that Muay Thai ecosystem needs to think bigger. They need to think that if they all come together, work together, and put their resources into one, that we can make this into something bigger. To think and to realize the sport goes bigger than where it currently is, and that in order to do, they need to be a part of that process, and they need to be willing to, I don't want to say change, but be willing to work with the more modern methods of growing sport to grow the sport to a mainstream audience.
Looking forward, seeing the time. The people are starting to stop listening just because the time is rolling. Everybody knows 2 2 hour podcasts. Most of the people stop listening. But one of the last questions, Charlie, is looking ahead. What is your long-term vision for World Super Series and its role for the global Muay Thai scene around the world?
Absolutely. We plan to, as I say, we do things in stages. We plan that the first 18 months is to establish the World Super Series brand, to build the connections, and to start build the foundation and the building blocks for the sport and for the general public to start pay attention for the sport. After 18 months, we plan to do a Series A round, which will incur a significant investment to then be able to start to take into the heights of like like what wanted the funding that they have, that we will be able to start to do that within the Western world, within outside of Asia. Within the long term, we have a 7 year uh, kind of timeline. We have a 7 year period. That's what we work on for our sports. We aim to take Muay Thai from a very fragmented market again outside of Thailand, where there's not really one organization that's any kind of value, kind of globally. Be able to take the ecosystem that is very much fragmented right now into, in 7 years' time, a sport, an IP, and an ecosystem that is worth um, that is worth one of these bigger media platforms, event companies, and PE firms to come in and go, okay, you brought the sport from 0 to seven, 8 figures. Now let's take this, let's invest, tens of millions that we have resource, and let's actually take the sport into an IP, a property that's worth, 9, 10 figures plus. What they did with BKB, like what they did with Sail GP, like what they're doing with paddle, taking these fragmented sports, bringing it to a certain milestone, bringing in a bigger company with better resources and more funding to then take it on to the real global heights that can that can really change the sport and change the lives of everyone involved.
Charlie, your answers are on point, perfect. Everybody understands that. Boom. This is what I like. On point, perfect. So,
Awesome.
we're coming to the end to this nice interview about the World Super Series. We are looking forward to have one of the events in the German native speaking area. We are going to see us in there. I guess for you, it's a lot of time of traveling and dating in the next couple of weeks and since months and years. So all thumbs are pushed. We are very happy to be one of the media partners of the World Super Series and your team. We are looking forward to it. And Charlie, thanks a lot. Before we quit the interview, don't cut off the phone because we still have to wait until this podcast is loaded up. So in the end, the last words are yours, and you can tell something to the German Muay Thai scene. Go for it.
Awesome. Well, first of all, for having me on, it's an absolute honor and a privilege to have Teep Talk. What you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic for the sport, and you are providing that platform for the different countries to tell their voices and bring the sport to the mainstream market. First of all, a massive thank you and a props to you and everyone at Teep Talk. To the fans listening and watching on, tune into March 14th. Tune into World Super Series, the event that we have in London. See the production that we're putting on. See what we're all about. And see how we go from there, because I think you'll be impressed and I think that you'll want to be a part of it.
Thank you, Charlie. Have a great day. Thanks for the interview.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Speak to you soon.